when I look at guys, I try to simplify the identification of how you should be moving by grouping you. I don't know if you've seen me some of the content that I've done on this accelerator and driver, meaning like what does your body best represent? Right? Are you going to be fast twitch, quicker, higher tempo, relying on acceleration, or are you going to be maybe a slower tempo, slower mover in general, but applying a ton of energy into the ground? So when I look at you, I think your goal is you're trying to put a lot of energy into the ground and stay strong on that back side. Now, in order for us to do that, we need to make sure that we definitely have the size, which you do 6'2", 210, 100%. And we definitely have the movement capacity to do that. And what do I mean by that? The hip movement potential. We need to make sure that we can hold and stabilize all of the energy that we're trying to produce in the ground. If we don't, then the task is kind of thrown off, okay? Down from leg lift, but you can see right off the bat as you separate your hands and now your hands by your knee, you're just going to see in these series of frames that we're not really holding that energy, right? So you're going to see that it just starts to collapse, and this is where we would go into this early hip extension, meaning that our energy now from the ground is coming up the chain. And just notice the relationship of your arm, right? So we're at max capacity of that hip or hip extension, and our hand's still below our elbow, right? And I know I have the ability to slow these frames down, which is obviously a luxury that in person you might not see this, trying to perceive it with time. But we're missing out on that potential energy from the ground up through the chain if our hand isn't synced up with our drive leg. That's why it's so important to have that mechanism of holding that energy production, that force production in that drive leg as we descend. If we're going to try to be drivers, that's a huge piece to being able to do that. You're leaving a lot of potential force up through the fingertips by having that drive leg collapse just a little bit. But to be completely honest, man, like you move well, you do a lot of things in your delivery really well that I really like. But I want to take you into this video here. Max Scherzer, I think you guys are doing similar things in your delivery. Notice how as soon as he comes down, he's trying to do the same thing. He's trying to put as much pressure and energy into that drive leg, and he's counter rotating that trunk to put even more pressure into that drive leg. But you can see just from that frame right there, I'll throw up a better video as well to give you a better angle of this move that we're talking about here. Here we go. This is a good one. I use this one a lot. Okay, so again, we're watching the drive leg. Okay, so coming down from leg lift. Yikes, excuse me. Coming down from leg lift, you see that trunk counter rotates, but notice how that knee almost just stays in that same position for 4, 5, 6 frames, right? So now he holds that force. He holds that energy after being produced in the ground. So this is that delaying mechanism for him to now get handbrake and maximize the timing of that internal rotation. So watch that. Now that drive leg hip is going to internally rotate at the same time that his elbow is initiating his retraction, which is now it's going to sequence that energy up through the chain. Boom, now he anchors down, hands above the shoulder. Now we're ready to rock. Let's roll. All right, so that's a huge piece. Now notice the movement potential that he had to use, right? It's a lot of hip movement potential, right? So when we look at you, let's see if we can get this better. So again, just comparing, again, it's Scherzer. Obviously, he does a ton of things really well, right? So it's kind of unfair to compare. But at the same time, that's your goal. So here you go. Okay, so big difference, right? Let's take you one frame back. Okay. So hand timing, arm timing is the same, but in terms of where that drive leg is positioned, you can just see you're releasing your energy earlier, and that's why Scherzer is able to throw freaking cheese, effortless cheese too, right?